But this time, different from the other two, this is the first time I was asked if I wanted to stay or I wanted to go.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Wow, it's so good to see everybody. Wow. So many beautiful faces. And oh gosh, it's like being with just a big, 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 loving, incredible, amazing family. All right. So as more people come in, I have today here with me, supporting me in making all this happen and all the technical part and all that. Lana's here, always offering me her support, and I have Fabi here offering me all the support too for us to be able to be here and me be relaxed with you guys, not having to think like, oh my God, do I have to admit this and that or do these technical things? So I appreciate and love so much all this love and support. And also I want to appreciate from the bottom of my heart everybody that has donated to make this possible, because yes, there's a lot involved in this, and having the marketing and the platform and the traveling and everything that is involved in just sharing the message with everyone, with whoever is open to receive it. So any donation that you have already offered or want to offer is very, very appreciated from the bottom of my heart. So we're here gathered together. Just, I think the main reason is to share the sense of community. Gather together and realize, wow, how deeply, deeply connected we are. If we're attracted to be here, if we're attracted to even sit here and share these beautiful hearts and energy and love, is because there's a force beyond that we can even understand or sometimes recognize, that is just guiding us all to be here together. And many people will tell me always the synchronicities or the things that I have to go through to make to the meeting, to find the link, so this is beautiful. And one thing I want to share that is fascinating. When I asked the beings of light one time to explain to me this concept of omnipresence, and I shared this with some of you, and this is amazing because the beings of light, the universe, there's so much joy and fun in the teachings. And then one time someone was asking me, but how, for example, Archangel Michael or Jesus or can be everywhere for everybody that is asking? And then, yeah, I was like, wow, yeah, I want to understand. Or give me an analogy that I can use to explain to everybody this, the meaning of omnipresence, how this is possible. And you guys not going to believe the universe, the beings of light, the simplicity in the teaching and how powerful it is. So that morning I have given a talk, and I had people that was gathered there from all over the world. And I asked this question right after the talk, give me an analogy so next time I can share. And then the beings of light said, easy to explain omnipresence, just think about the Zoom. Look what you did today. You were sitting in your class, you opened the Zoom, and people from all over the world was able to gather. At that moment, you became omnipresent. Like, whoa! Just like, that is incredible. And they said to me, but the thing is, the key here is that people have to ask for the link. And not just ask for the link, but also click the link. See, because sometimes we're like, oh, but we don't ask. Like ask and it will be given. Ask, look for it. You have to really want it. And after you have the link, you have to click on it. You have to make the effort, do the work to get that connection. So this is just in simple teachings, we're able to understand concepts that are like beyond the mind. And I'm sure many of you know my story already. And know me through all the things that I have shared through documentaries or interviews or the media. But in summary, you guys know I had a first near-death experience when I was a little child. And from there is like, this is beautiful because I said it's like the door open. And I always, and people ask me, how can you remember all these things if this happened when you were just 2-3 years old, when you were so little? And I always say, yeah, because it's like the door never closed. It's like after my NDE, I kept having spiritual experiences, like this just never ended. And then in all my talks, I always used to say, yes, like that door never closed. And the being so light one said to me, Ingrid, pretty much I saying, okay, we need you to understand that, of course, the door never closed. And they say, because there is not door. The light of awareness, home, consciousness is there always. The doors happen when we start like getting conditioned and beliefs and experiences and things that happen, and we start little by little, kind of, especially all the conditionings that we get through family, through school, through religion, through everything else, culture, then we start creating layers and closing the door. But in reality, and we will see through what I'm going to share with you today, how is that realization through experience that there are no doors. And what I love about all this is that many of us, and in all the teachings, yeah, we get to the first steps of understanding at the level of the intellect. Yeah, these things, oh my God, but that's the first step. Like, how can I learn more and get into all these that at the beginning can be concepts. But what I like about my possibility to sharing with you is that I have experienced a lot of these things. So it's like I can talk to you at the level of experience. And I many times say it's like drinking or knowing the orange juice. One thing is to know orange juice, like you can know everything about orange juice, the chemistry. You can know all knowledge about oranges and all knowledge about how to even prepare the juice. But if you never drink it, you really, really, at the deeper level, you do not know it. It's only when we drink it, when we start experiencing things, either because you had a spiritual experience or because you do the work of wanting to calm the mind, to connect, to be there, whatever you start reading, then you open the door for the experiences to happen. And it's a moment when you, so that's how it happened in my life. It's like, oh, from the very, very young age, it's like I was already in touch. I was already in the experience. So I could, from my own personal experience, come and share. And remember, my experience is my experience. There's so many more people, but at the core of these experiences, the beautiful thing when we talk about spiritual experiences, that we're talking about near deaths or out-of-body experiences or whatever it is, the important thing is that it's not the experience itself, but what is behind the experience. Is the core of it. Is this talking from where? From the heart, from the place of calmness, from the place of peace, from the place of compassion, from like, what is it bringing you to share truly with the world? And then what I come to share today is an experience I had only a couple of months ago. And wow, it was, again, each experience is unique, but it just brings you to tap deeper and deeper and deeper. And what happened is that I would just say, I could call it a spiritual experience. I could call it encounter with death. I could call it, it's always this part where we have to name things. But let's say this was a spiritual experience, last encounter with death, NDE. But it all started before. It's like there was like knowing before the whole thing presented in my path. So one night, it was like a Monday. I am a person that I am an empath. So I can feel the pain of others. I can feel the suffering. I can feel, so it's like I just go in the place of spaciousness and calmness, and I can just separate myself from it. And there was a night when I was going to go to bed, and I felt this tremendous sense of dread, like worry. There was so much worry that I'm almost like hyperventilating, like, where is all this worry? And I thought, this has to be somebody that is in trouble. And I started to think my sisters, but usually what I do when I feel that is like, again, I go to that place of peace. And just by saying, this is not mine, it goes away. It's like, okay. Sometimes it's even pain, anything like, this doesn't belong to me, and it goes away. And that night I said, this doesn't belong to me. And it didn't go anywhere. And I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble, because there's something there and I don't know what is happening. And usually, like, if there's something I haven't seen, but it just presented like that. And I'm like, whoa, what is going on? And there was just so much worry. So I went to sleep. I barely could fall asleep. 3 a.m, I woke up and the worry was still there. And now I just even having like sort of tachycardia, and I'm just now like presenting at the level of the body. And I'm like, what is happening? So I sat there and I meditate, and I have learned to be with what is there. So at that moment I said, can I be with this? And then at the moment I said, can I be with this? I heard the voice, call it source, call it God, call it cosmic consciousness, the divine. I heard the voice that said, do you trust me? And the moment I said, it's like, imagine for you to feel that you can trust at that level, is the trust that have to come from the mother, the father, the sense that, yeah, you're all embraced and you can really let yourself trust. Of course, I didn't think all that in the moment, but that was the feeling I felt. Yeah, you can completely let go, surrender of everything, because you are in the arms of the divine. And at that moment, when I heard, do you trust me? I said, yes, I do. And the moment I said this, everything was gone. All worry, anything that I was at that moment feeling that was making me feel sick and with tachycardia and with nervousness and anxiousness was gone. And I was like, in that state of absolute peace. And when this happened, I heard the words that said, you are in sync, like synchronized. You are in sync with God. It was like, I cannot even describe to you with words what I experienced. It was absolute connection. Like if I enter in the state of like experiencing what is oneness, and in the Hindu scriptures, in the Hindu practices, I heard the word samadhi, and I think I was in a state of that oneness at that moment. I'm like, and I entered in that state, and I was like, I really don't have words, guys, to describe how this was, but if you could think about the most liberating, peaceful, calming state of being, just where you know that absolutely everything is all right. And then I stay in meditation for the rest of the night. And the first thing I felt to do in the morning when I got up was to water the plants. It was like, just guided me to just be in nature. And I went to water the plants. And when I looked at my hands watering the plants, I was like, wow, these are the hands of the Creator. So I was thinking, wow, there's a life force that makes possible this to happen. And I was thinking not just about me, like this is in English, everyone and everything is this force. All of us are the Creator. And it came so clear, like right before all this, there have been a couple of teachings that I have like been paying attention to. And one was, I started to hear it everywhere. And the teaching said, in the beginning, which is in the scriptures, in the beginning, it was the Word. Then the Word was with God. Then the Word was God. And then while I'm watering the plants, I now like receive it again. Like in the beginning, it was the flower. And the flower was with God. And the flower was God. And then looking at my hands and the people, I start, in the beginning, it was you. And you were with God. And you are God. It's like, it's the state of communion and unity. And then, and incredibly, people think that we have to disappear or dissolve. No, it's like, look, we can honor all of it, the temple of all of it. It's like, oh, I don't need to disappear. I just need to know that I am that. And then I am in this state like, wow, so, but remember, the words that I receive, do you trust me? 5 days after this experience, I am in the car and we're driving. My husband is driving and I am in the passenger seat. And then we're going to turn into our neighborhood. So we almost just slow down when a car hit us from the back. And we had a horrendous car accident. So I have Elana here is going to show you the picture of how our car got destroyed in this car accident. So you can have an idea of how bad this accident was. So this was the car. And if you see next to the car, there's a line of trees. So I think that's okay, Lana, now. Just kind of to give you an idea of how bad the accident was. So what happened is when we were about to turn, this car hit us from the back and it was so hard. My husband just said, he's not stopping, he's not stopping. And I didn't know what he was saying. And I like, between these words he said, I just heard how the car just, this impact. And because we're almost stopped, because we're about to turn. And what he did was like, he's a very good driver. What he did was like, he put the wheel straight, otherwise it would have sent us to spinning. And then he put the wheel straight, the car hit us, and it was so hard. I think the guy was doing about 65, and the car just went like, I don't know how many yards it went into the air, because there was like a dish that went down. It hit us, the car kind of flew like, and then we went in the dish, but incredibly, he was able to work with the wheel, and we didn't hit the trees, and we ended up next to the trees. And then other people stopped at the scene because they thought that this guy was drunk, because people were looking this guy driving, and they thought that guy had to be drunk because he's driving all crazy. So people were keeping distance from this car. And then the moment it hit us and we went into the dish, everyone stopped. The car that hit us stopped too. And later we learned that the guy fell asleep on the wheel. And what woke him up was hitting us. And then now we're in the dish, and the seat belt, it helped, it did the work that it's supposed to do, but it helped us so hard that I felt that my belly and my chest had almost like crushed. It was like my belly, it was excruciating pain. So it was like I was sitting in the car, and I'm like, I felt that I was in fire just from the seatbelt holding me so hard. And then my husband, he's like a rock. He's pretty strong. Me, I'm just this little thing. So he went out of the car, everybody stopped. And I could feel the anger of course, everybody thinking, what happened? They didn't know that this guy fell asleep. They thought he was drunk. So everybody is like cursing and angry. And I am sitting in pain in the chair. But what happened is amazing. And it's when I know that, and we really don't know the big picture. We don't really know why everything happens, but it gets revealed to us through contrast. Not always have to be something that big at an accident. Many things are showing us, but sometimes we need to be shaken hard to understand deeper truths. And I guess this is what happened that day. And when the accident happened, I'm sitting there in pain, and guys, I could hear everybody even cursing, angry, whatever. The guy came out of the truck, and all I could feel was compassion. Compassion, compassion. And listen to these words. I'm not saying I could think compassion. I was the embodiment of compassion. I even at the level of because the ego mind is still present, it's like, wow, how can you be feeling this compassion if your car just got destroyed? If this guy, and I was like pouring it. It's like, I felt compassion for the anger. I felt compassion for this other person. And when the guy, I didn't know what happened, why he hit us. He came out of the truck. It was a big truck, pickup truck, and he's walking towards us. And I felt so much compassion for this person. And at that moment, I had that realization, that clarity. Wow. This is the level of understanding and love and clarity and communion and connection. And I don't even know how many words more to use. Love when you are in sync with God. It's like you realize nothing truly is happening. And when we are at that level, it's like things also kind of go easy. Even in the middle, like we could think like, mind the accident, oh my God, an accident, and now the car is destroyed, and now the insurance, and now I was in such a state of connection and peace that even everything about the accident went easy. After that, everything just got resolved. Hey, everybody went to their homes, we went to ours. And then even the whole thing with the insurance went easy. That week, the insurance contacted us and they said, oh, you know, you have this kind of insurance that if your car gets destroyed, it pays for the whole full cost of the car. Like, what? We didn't even know we had that insurance. So it's all that happened when we are not resisting, when we are not fighting, when we are aligned, things align with us. And 2 weeks later, my husband had a brand new car and even an upgraded model that he liked better. So it's like, wow. So that was incredible, but this doesn't end there. Okay, now the ambulance was there and I didn't want to go to the hospital. I'm like, oh, I'm fine, I'm fine. I was in a lot of pain, but I was like, I didn't want to do hospital. I just felt like, I think I'm going to be okay. Next day, I ended up in the hospital because very early in the morning, because the pain was, I was in pain throughout the night. And I'm like, now I was worried, something maybe really went bad. And then we went and we did the scans and CT scan and all that, and it was just inflammation. But what happened here is that for a long time, see, like everything, sometimes we don't listen to the signals. And I've been a person that I am stubborn. And many times I'm like, I'm not going to do this. And then for a long time, I've been having problems with my period. And I've been told by a couple of doctors that I needed surgery, that is better if I got a hysterectomy because things were just, and I thought, no, I can cure this, but sometimes there's things that need to happen for other things to get revealed. This is how it just goes. And then I was doing hormone therapy because I didn't really want to do this surgery. And my body was like screaming, oh, you need this surgery, things are not going well. So what happened after the accident with the inflammation, I got a period and it was very painful and I started to bleed and the bleeding lasted for 15 days. Then now I thought, oh gosh, I guess that I better go to the doctor and figure out what is happening. And all that brought us to realize I really need this surgery. And then again, the story is long, but I was guided to the right doctor to do this surgery. I even changed doctors. Everything guided me to this doctor that did the surgery. And why it has to be this doctor and why I was guided, because the day of the surgery, I knew with all the clarity in my mind that the doctor had to check my blood pressure. So you have to, and I found this doctor that was open to listen. Same thing with the anesthesiologist, same thing with the hospital. The place where I was sent was the place where they were going to listen. And I said, you have to really check my blood pressure, because every time that people, and this is, I have learned this from people that have had near-death experiences, are very sensitive to anesthesia. Just have the tendency to want to stay in the other realm. So I just told her, I am very, very sensitive to anesthesia. Then you have to monitor my blood pressure. And because they listened throughout the surgery, they were monitoring my blood pressure closely. And the surgery was going well. And at some point, my blood pressure dropped, like very dramatically. And then I entered into hypothermia. And again, thankfully, they were monitoring, they knew what to do. And then when I woke up in the recovery room, I was wrapped in a heating blanket because my body could not warm itself. So I had all the medications, whatever is needed. And when I woke up, I started to just shake so strongly. So they put me medicine for that. And then now I went into high blood pressure and into tachycardia. So it was like my body was all over the place. And the other thing, I told the doctor, you have to keep me in the hospital. So it was good. They listened to all the stuff. And what happened, so that was the part of what was happening with the body. But what happened at a deeper level was something absolutely amazing. And this was, guys, the first time I have, this is, I could say my third, let's call it near-death experience. But this time, different from the other two, this is the first time I was asked if I wanted to stay or I wanted to go. The other two was just like, well, you're back, nothing to say. This time, it was incredible because it's when I heard the voice, you want to stay or you want to go. But everything happens, we all, you have heard, like in these dimensions, the spiritual dimension, these other dimensions, time works differently. So from the time, this is just one sentence, you want to stay or you want to go, but in between that sentence, I could feel like you want to stay. I felt like if I've been like I was in this retreat and I was like, wow, in just those few seconds, I felt a lot. Like, whoa, this feels so incredibly well. Of course, I will want to stay. And the ego mind at the moment, of course, leave me here. This is heaven. And then, but it came now, the part of the awakened, already the aware, awakened being. And it's the part where I looked at that and I said, wait a minute, is this a test? And I said, if God is everything, if God is everywhere, so where is there and where is here? If God is absolutely everything, then there is not there and there is not here. So at that moment, I just said, leave me where, or keep me where I can serve God the most. And I'm here sharing with you guys. But this is incredible. What I even came to understand when I wrote in the email or the Facebook, wherever, that concept of temptation. Because what I said to you, the first thing I experienced was like, wow, this is like 10 diamond resort. Of course I want to stay there. Is the sense of course, this feels incredibly well. Who doesn't want to be? And it's when it came that clarity, like, oh, is this a test? So it was that knowing that, yeah, I could just go and stay in that, but I'm not really doing the true work that I meant to do. And what is the true work that we really, really, really meant to do? Remember who we truly are. Remember that we are the light. And what is the mission as we remember our true purpose? I am the light. That's the purpose. Start shining that light for the world. What can I do to share this light? How can I? And you know, this is the other thing. People think that sharing our light is like, oh, I have to be in front of 10,000 people. No, the being so light said to me is not about quantity. It's about quality. One person at a time, starting from here. And then in your home, because people ask me, but what is my purpose? Be the light at home. Be the light in your neighborhood. Be the light in your church. Be the light in your job. Be the light wherever you go. And you're already at purpose. And this is, the beings of light are amazing. They gave me this analogy of like a little bulb outside at night. They said, what happened when you turn on the light in your back porch at night? And he said, look at all the little bugs. They're attracted by the light. And this is what will happen. When we shine our light, we get attracted, because when someone is shining it, we're attracted. Why? Because that light is what we are. So we want to, I want it. But the empowerment is not stay chasing that light. The empowerment is knowing I am the light. And everything else out there is reminding me that I am that light. And the experience in the car that I had, and the experience in the hospital, all that is the contrast that I needed to, because sometimes we don't know where we are at in our awakening process. And I said, I don't know where I am at. And the way to know is when certain challenges, certain experiences present. And I'm like, oh, now I know where I am. And again, they don't always have to be like that, but it's all depend of, like in my case, I already have told the universe I'm ready. And I have used now, I'm not running from fear. Now I use the fear as my compass. Not that I'm being silly, like, oh, there's a bear, go and fall into the mouth of the bear. No, it's the fear, the inner. Where is it pointing me? And I love this sentence that says, the true warrior is not the fearless one. Is the one that despite the fear goes to battle. So now when I see that there's some fear in me about anything, or the presence of anger or sadness or anything there, I'm like, what are you trying to show me? So to me, and I love, love, love this sentence, and I'll share it with many of you, what is in the way is the way. How can I use this to fuel my awareness? I call them challenging opportunities. How can I use this to grow? How can I use this to look within, to keep peeling the layers of calling ignorance of what I don't know about me? And then going deeper and deeper and deeper. And look, again, going back to the place where I heard the message, God telling me, do you trust me? And incredibly, one of the results of the surgery at the end was like, when I got all the pathology, all the results, it was like, wow, you had two very big cysts. One was in my ovary and one was in my womb. And if these whole things didn't get removed, I was in very big risk of a huge bleeding, or I was already anemic. So it's like, you know, when I was little, one of the first teachings I received when the beings of light said to me, trust. I didn't understand what trust was. And they'd say, let yourself rest calmly in the hands of the divine. What was the first thing I did? Resist. We resist and we fight, but that's okay, because all that resistance is going to show us the correction we need at the end. We resist, oh, okay, this challenge will present. I'm like, oh, and this other challenge and this other challenge, until we realize, oh, I need to correct these things within me so I can peel and peel those layers of resistance until we learn to stop, align, be in sync with God. And from that place, know what to do. So when people talk about a stillness, they think that a stillness is doing nothing. They said, no, 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 no. The beings of light said to me, wisdom comes from the place of silence. From that stillness comes the movement. Look at how beautiful stillness and movement, stillness and creation are dancing. It's like from this place of alignment, of calmness, from giving yourself the opportunity to pause. Now you know what to do. Now the answer comes. Now you become the creator of your own reality. And I'm going to, I'm seeing here what else I have here, because there's so many beautiful teachings. Again, the realization with all these, that home is not a place. Home is a state of being. When I center, when I pause, when I align, we are at home. Kingdom of heaven is within every one of us, always. And this is the other incredible thing. The other teaching I received after all this, one night the beings of light showed me 3 in the morning, the teachings come because guess what? We are free from all the worry, the stuff, the mind, the ego. So pay attention to when you wake up at 3, 4 and you're peaceful there. And they show me a conveyor belt. It's like this. I'm like, what is this trying to show me? And this conveyor belt is formed by the letter, the letter V, 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 V. My, what is this? And they said, look, at every moment of your life, you can be a victim or you can be in victory. Victim, victory, victim, victory. You have the power to choose. And that's what we call free will. True free will, and I have shared this with you before, it's not the clothes we wear, it's not the food we eat, it's not the career we choose, because guess what? We're already conditioned by our culture. Or I will be wearing something else, eating something else, doing something else. The only free will that truly exists is I want to be what I call the cul-de-sac of suffering, repeating the same patterns, rethinking the same thoughts, or I stop and say, what is this for? Can I be with this? Can I allow this to be here? And go to the place where can I offer nurturing and love to whatever is here? And when we do that, we choose the path of clarity, the path of the light. And that's when the true free will happens. And this when now I go, and guess what? To make that decision, you first have to be in the place of awareness. You have to create a pause. And now you create the space. Now you connect with that place of inner wisdom and power. You become this powerful being. And I always like to share this teaching about when the beings of light showed me a room. And they told me, tell me something in the room that never, ever, ever changes. And I said, oh, the space in the room. So they said to me, the important thing is, what are you identifying with? The furniture in the room or the space in the room? See, when we identify with the furniture in the room, we're identifying with the impermanent, because the furniture in the room can change. You can give it away, can get broken, whatever happened. And in this analogy, the furniture in the room is what? Our story, our dramas. Oh, the story of Ingrid and poor Ingrid. What about the moment I stop, pause, be present? And at that moment you realize, you identify with the space in the room, you're becoming omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent. When you identify with the furniture in the room, you're the puppet of your reality. When you identify with the space, you become the creator of your own reality. So now to end, so we can have some questions and answers. Another beautiful thing that the beings of light shared to me lately was what a true giver is. Because we think that we give, but we have to think carefully where we are at in this place of giving. Because mostly at the beginning, because of the culture, because the way we live our life, because the ego is really strong, then is the giving that we do for the sake of ourselves. So it's like, oh yeah, I give, but I'm always waiting something in return. Then as we become more altruistic, is the giving that is for the sake of others. I really feel that I'm giving, and it's that sense of I'm giving to others. And the more altruistic we become, is the giving that is for the sake of God, for the sake of love, for the sake of giving. But how we know that we're in that place? That was my question. Okay, yeah, okay, I know this teaching, but how I know that I'm in that place of giving for the sake of God, for the sake of giving? Oh, the answer was beautiful. It's when the beings of light said to me, when you are present. So I said, but I donate and I give all my clothes and I give, but were you present when you did it? If we listen, and it's not also just about giving things, it's about being present when you listen, being present when you share, being present when you offer, being present when you are at your job, when you are at home, when you're with your family, when you're in the line, be present. And that's when you become a true giver. So with that, I am open for questions. So Brother Ed, yes, please. I think, yes, you have to unmute yourself. Yes.
Namaste and thank you.
Oh,
Thank you from the bottom of my heart. What a guardian gift and carrier of wisdom you are.
Thank you.
The insights you have brought in this presentation are some of the most profound and deeply seated truths that I have had in my many near-death and mystical experiences. I'm sitting here with my sweet wife, who's had multiple near-death experiences as well. And as we used to lead the IANS near-death group in Austin, Texas, I feel like I've been disconnected, having moved to Indian country, Oklahoma, only to realize, as your first example said, a Zoom session is almost like that experience of being back in light. And what a delight your light is. I can't say enough, and you've said so much. I've got 3 pages of notes I have made about how you have grasped the ineffable, undescribable experience of being there in that white of euphoric ecstasy and put it in words that can kind of communicate in the mundane day-to-day world that we call life on planet Earth. I was challenged recently as I was in the hospital again, as I've been so many times, with pancreatitis and pneumonia, not expecting to live. When we have pancreatitis, we're not allowed any water or food. You just take whatever comes through the IV to keep you alive. The nurses who had known some sense of my experiences asked, "Can you summarize the lessons of your near-death experience in a few sentences?" And I thought, we've been writing books after books to describe it, and you want it in a sentence or two? And I came back a few days later with this, and I'll leave you with this. You and I and every living human being, every living thing on planet Earth is a unique, precious, and powerful immortal being. We are immortal beings having a temporary experience in this time-space dimension we call planet Earth. And from one immortal being to another, and all y'all present, namaste. The force is with us. Live long and prosper. God loves you. Back to you.
I feel truly, really honored to be in the presence of all of you. It's that sense of, I look at everybody like, I recognize you, even if we haven't even seen each other, I like physically, is like that sense of like, I know who you are, which is just this powerful sense of connection. And it's just that knowing, and when I sit with people, when I do the one-on-ones, it's like the universe just come all these validation of look at how connected we are. So it's very, very, very powerful, and I feel very humble to be here with you, and that you all accepted to be here with me today. I feel blessed. So thank you. This is just incredible, and just this sense of community, just this sense of being all here together is the most important thing. And thank
Ingrid?
you for your love. And yes.
Do you want to talk about your upcoming retreat?
Thank you so much, Lana. See, Lana's here to remind me things, because I just get into and I forget the rest. So I want to remind you, or no, remind the ones that know, and offer to the ones that don't know. On December 3rd, I'm going to offer a day retreat. So it's going to be from around, I would just say 9:30 to 4:30, 7 hours, 6 hours. It's a retreat where we're going to meditate. And there's going to be a space, don't worry, you guys have a space for lunch, and it's all online, and we're going to do different practices, and I'm going to give some talks, and everything is related with the name of the retreat is going to be Peace and Equanimity, finding balance in difficult times, finding balance in times of challenge. So how can we be peaceful and present when there's hardship? And then I'm going to offer meditations to be able to be in that and grow and be in like start touching that place where I can be. Can I be with what is here? Can I be with this? So it's going to be, I think, a very powerful retreat, and that's going to be December 3rd. And I will send newsletters and do all the postings and everything to remind you.
Ingrid, there was a question. This is going to be an online retreat, right?
Yes, an online retreat.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you for being here. And thank you for everybody that also have given donations. I'm very, very honored, very blessed. And this is beautiful. This is just amazing. And again, like talking about energy, now let's share this love and this energy with everyone else. This
Thank you
sense
so
of
much.
community. Thank you, and gathering and love. I love you all. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
If you love this video and want to stay connected, please subscribe to my channel and visit my website at ingridhonkala.com. See you next time. Bye.